I'd like to also acknowledge from District 15, Mark Savoy, HR and Finance person. Thank you, Mark, for being here. And also Stacey Landry, Transportation Manager for School District, for the bus drivers in School District 15. I'm going to introduce our guest speaker tonight. Bryan Murphy, 30-year employee of School District number 68 in Nanaimo, British Columbia. He's a mechanic. He's also a bus driver. He is also a commercial motor vehicle inspector. He's a Drive Smart trainer. He's a graduate from Pupil Transportation Management Level 1 to 3. He's a QPBC Education Committee, or he's on the QPBC Education Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mr. Bryan Murphy.
I want to take a minute to thank all of you for coming out. We all have busy lives, and this is a very, very important issue to this community, as it is a very important issue to many of the communities in British Columbia, of which I represent. Is there anybody here that doesn't have a copy of this presentation? There are some copies on the back table. I'd like you to take a moment if you'd like to get them. As we said a little earlier, at any time if a question comes to mind, please raise your hand and we'll take it in an order as soon as possible. We want to make sure that any questions that you have, that we address them in the question period, and if there's any I can't answer, I'll speak with you after the presentation is over. The presentation that you're going to see here is, I call it the use of dangerous 15-passenger vans. And there's something always to be said for lost in translation of different versions of PowerPoint presentations. So you see a little bit of spacing here and there, which was a little bit of a surprise. Maybe it was something to do with air travel. Who knows? But then we will move on. So it is no surprise to you, as you see on the slide on page 2 there, the carnage that has happened in this beautiful community. Was very much humbled today to have the ability to spend the day with Isabel, and we traveled out to Memorial Site on the highway, and then after spending some time there, getting a feeling of what transpired on that day, and then to take a bit more time and go over to the graveyard and see the memorials of those young men. I call them young men because they have actually, their names have stood for something greater than they would have ever expected. They stand for innocent bystanders that really had nothing to do with anything other than riding in an unsafe vehicle. It saddens me greatly that communities have to come to the realization that the vehicle that they put so much trust in, the vehicle that without any concern from Transport Canada is still on the road. But the great work that's happened since the accident, New Brunswick has stepped forward and banned the use of the vans for transporting students, as Nova Scotia did and as Quebec has done. Serge had given you a few highlights about my background. I'll try not to bore you too much. It's a bit of a list, but I started in the school district in 1980, British Columbia. A little bit younger than I am now, but we've had some very good years. 30 years as an employee of our school district has been quite a lifelong journey. As hired as a mechanic driver, I started off doing half of my time driving and half of my time doing mechanical work, and then shortly during that career, we started to do more maintenance work, so we didn't have as much time to do driving. In that 30 years, I spent 22 and a half years as a foreman and general foreman, which gave me a wide range of duties. I then became a commercial motor vehicle inspector, and what that means in British Columbia, when you're working on a fleet of vehicles, certified to do inspections on your own vehicle. You are responsible for every detail on the vehicle, whether it's a school bus, a gravel truck, or an equipment trailer, whatever. You're responsible for everything that goes on. So your duty when you take control of the inspection sheet is to look at that vehicle, every part of it, and anything that you see as a concern based on the Motor Vehicle Act. In the time that I was there, I was trained to be a Drive Smart trainer. And that was a training program that enabled me to sit with professionals or sit with novices and evaluate driving characteristics. Evaluate in such a fashion that people could learn from it. To take even the most seasoned of drivers and work with them and say, ask them the questions that they will know. The questions like, when you approach this intersection, what do you see? It isn't just the traffic light. It isn't just the children that are walking down the side of the road. It's the whole picture. The vehicles approaching the intersection, what's happening with the other vehicles. Does it appear like anybody's in a hurry? Because as a professional driver, as you would expect, as I would expect, that your mind is to the duty, to the task, and you take full responsibility for your actions. In that, I did a lot of heavy-duty equipment training, which enabled our other groups of our school workers to become proficient at operating equipment that needed certification. In my time in the early 90s, I was able to graduate from Pupil Transportation Management 1 to 3 at Washington State University, which gave me the credential to be a certified transportation manager. While I was instructing the driver's work program to drivers, we taught the professional drivers pre-trip inspection, safe handling of large school buses, hazard avoidance, and how to effectively deal with constant interruptions while behind the wheel. You know, we always chuckle to each other the noise that we get on a daily basis. And it changes from the morning to the afternoon. In the morning it's quite subdued. It's maybe only 80 decibels, which is livable. It's like the sound of a diesel engine at a steady drone. In the afternoon it jumps 40 decibels. And in that you have to remain professional. You have to be able to see what's going on in the bus in your rearview mirror, which is only about 2 feet wide and maybe 10 inches high. And focus on the task, as I said. I sit as a Central Health and Safety Committee member in our school district. I am also with that a representative for the Vancouver Island District Labour Council, of which I sit as the OHS chair. PPC Education Committee, where we plan education for all our members of 80,000 in British Columbia. In that, in my free time, I do a little bit of work with the Apprenticeship Working Group where we tried to revive the apprenticeship program in British Columbia that was taken apart in 2001 by our Liberal government. And out of this, a bright light came to me. And it was the issue around van safety. I was able at the Cuban National Convention to meet Della Lane Harris Forum. And I think I met Daniel there for the first time. And out of that, I realized there was a great need for us to work collaboratively to help each other to formulate 15-passenger van working groups. So to that came a lot of learning.